Welcome back, everyone. This is the second part of my mod review of kind of the overhauls of Skyrim for PS4. So there's a previous video which is about 40 minutes long, which goes into good detail of the majority of the overhaul. This is just a few of the extra ones that I didn't get to hit on. I felt the video would take longer than an hour, which is unfortunately the maximum of length I'm allowed to do on PlayStation, because, you know, PlayStation Share is the best feature ever. But anyway, back to it. Welcome back. Now, just in case you see these things along in my world and other enemies that look a bit different, I'm using another overhaul that basically adds in more dangerous enemies into the game. They're vanilla enemies, just retextured. So if you're wondering what they are, I will be doing a review of them later on, at some point maybe. But I think it's like a special magic expansion. Don't quote me on that, but it's something along those lines. So don't worry if you see any of these enemies out of the moon. They're just a bit odd looking. Anyway, getting apart from that, the first mod I wanted to hit back on, because I only showed a portion of it, was the actual title this time, Civil War Battlefields. So this basically is a mod that adds in a ton of battlefields throughout Skyrim where the Stormcloaks and Imperials have had, had a little brawl. So as this one you can see is basically a fight over a bridge and a bit of the river here. Now, the other thing that will be demonstrated in this as a review is actually the bridge itself, as that is another portion of the mod Bridges of Skyrim. So let's make our way over there. Excuse me, mud crabs. Now, every single one of these areas I've already gone through before, so you might notice something very odd about them. Excuse that. Actually, no, excuse me, that's my mistake. Because I've went through this area before, usually there will be corpses everywhere. Dead Imperials and Stormcloaks littered among the lands. As you see, there's a bunch of blood here and a few weapons. A normal playthrough, that means if you go through this for the first time, there'll be a bunch of bodies everywhere you can loot. It's a great source for steel arrows in the early game. So it's a small little update, a small little mod, but it kind of makes sense. Why in God's name would you have? Shut up. Why in God's name would you? Or why Bethesda didn't think to actually add in battlegrounds or battlefields for the Imperials and Stormcloaks? Because you have to think, for about a year now, this insurgency in Skyrim has been going on, and there's no real, showing of it. There's no battlefields, there's no corpses and everything, which would make sense that there is. So this mod tends to fix that. So yeah. Another little feature, as you may have known, or as I mentioned earlier, is this bridge. This bridge is added by the Bridges of Skyrim mod, which once again would be one of the vanilla looking bridges would replace it, which I don't think it really should be. Like, I remember going through Oblivion and there were so many different types of bridges. Like, there would be some areas you'd be going to would have alien bridges or whatever type of bridges. So for Skyrim to just be default being dropped so much annoys me when it comes to Bethesda. Luckily there are mods, so this small feature, I think, hits up about maybe 50 or 60 of the 50 or 60 bridges in the game. If they still haven't taken away that bridge type fully, because they do want it to be in the game. It's a good bridge in terms of its design, but they just don't want it to be there as often. Now, obviously, one thing you can do with this Civil War Battlefields mod is, obviously, when you finish up the Civil War quest line, you can get rid of it, and then boom, everything goes back to looking pristine and clean again. So, let's make our way down. I just need to check the map real quickly to see if I'm going in the right direction, because I'm probably not. Sunguard, no, I'm in the absolutely wrong direction. Excuse me. Now, the third mod I'm going to actually show you was a mod I wanted to show you in the last episode, but I completely forgot about it while I was doing the filming, and only in the process after realized, hey, there's a mod that's pretty good that I completely forgot. Now, if I can quickly make my way down here without dying, thank you, random axe or weapon that somehow kills me. I love how that works in this game, where if an item hits you the wrong way, or if it's just floating around, it can kill you, just like that. So, I see some Forsworn or bandits. Oh, it's a hunter. Oh, it's one of those orc hunters. Oh, okay. Sorry, dude. I'm not going to give you a glory death today. I hope I'm going in the right direction. I am, yeah. I'll just put a marker there. So I know. Perfect. Now, once we get up to Fort Sunguard, I'll be able to show you this next mod. Fortunately, I have a lot of areas already pre-entered or pre-ready to just fast travel and show you, but I didn't go to. Oh crap! Oh. Well, that was easier. That was easy. When you get to the high levels, even some of the more difficult enemies are just, you know, easy when you have a fully upgraded weapon. So, here we have the first of it, and this is the mod, the Borders of Skyrim. Oh, sorry, Man Those Borders. Not Borders of Skyrim, Man Those Borders. Borders of Skyrim is a different mod that actually adds border fortresses on every side of the country, to, you know, when you're going to Cyrodiil or Morrowind. But this is Man Those Borders, which is kind of to give you an idea when you enter another hold. So, as you see, we have now the Sunguard Pass. As you can see, as you go around, there is a bunch of dead Forsworn and dead Imperial, not dead Imperials, dead Markart. I think for some reason there's a glitch where all the Forsworn are naked. I don't know why. I'm not gonna ask. So we have more Forsworn. Forsworn. Can't even see that, dude. Forsworn. 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 I don't know why, but there used to be. I'm gonna have to look at my old order because there used to be the Markart soldiers here as well. They'd be dead because originally this would be under the control and monitor of the Markart militia, basically. I don't know where they've gone. I don't know if they're dead or if the game is just fucking up on me, which I'm gonna have to go and have a look. No idea, no idea. But anyway, these little areas, kind of like little fortresses or little compounds, will be around the game, kind of instigating when you've crossed in from like Winterhold or Whiterun into Markart or Falkreath and Morthal and so on and so forth. It just kind of gives you a little bit extra to, you know, show you when you actually pass through the game, or pass through a hold into another one. So it kind of makes sense. In all honesty, it would, you know, most realistically, you'd have that in actual areas. I'm trying to think where I can go next to show you the next one. Yeah, actually we'll go here. So I just go over here to this Broken Fan Cave, because this actually will demonstrate the Man Those Borders mod and a few more of the Civil War battlefields, because there's actually quite a few of those in Whiterun. Because for some reason Whiterun is important. I'm not trying to be mean, I'm just saying. And the Civil War battlefields are all over the entire Skyrim. So, for example, there's one, I'm just going to quickly wait till the morning because I have a mod that makes the nights a lot darker in this game, so trying to show you anything is pointless at night. Yeah, the Civil War battlefields shows you a lot, kind of like how realistically important the game is, or realistically important some of the holds are. Just take away that marker. And here's another one of the battlefields. So it's a ruined fort, and it's basically, when you come here for the first time, once again, you'll have bodies and corpses everywhere. You'll have arrows sticking out of everything, and it just kind of gives it a feel that, you know, a war is actually raging in Skyrim, which, for the most part in Skyrim, it doesn't feel like it. It just feels like you take out a few forts and boom, the game's over. The war's been won, when in reality it's been a bloody conflict that's claimed the lives of hundreds, and should be demonstrated by this kind of mentality of these forts. Now these forts, usually, major ones, will usually have a chest or a, you know, something along the lines of some good reward. As you can see, there's a few corpses down there. They actually also use these to desecrated corpses, which would make sense. that you'd have that used in a battlefield. Now I think the person who won, or the faction that won this battle here was specifically Stormcloaks, so it's the reason why everything looks a bit more gory and fucked up. So getting back to the other mods, I'm going to show you three of three examples of the Man Those Borders mod. All I've added are not vanilla, so here's just one small thing with a flag waving, just to give you an idea as to where you are, so that obviously those followers now know they just entered Whiterun Hold. And if we come back over here, we have another one which is a bit more intimidating, I would say, or a bit more enforcing, which is, I don't know what it's called, but it's another one of their kind of little snap posts. These are all throughout the game, all 9 holds have at least 1 or 2 of them, so, which makes sense. You don't want to have unrestricted travel throughout the holes, or else, you know, shit can happen. There's another one, just a small little hold fashion, or a small little fortification, just to let people know where, keep an eye on you if you decide to come into Whiterun. Which it actually reminds me, if you can see, that's Whiterun there, and it kind of reminds me of the trailer for ESO when you had the Battle of the Wall, and they're just entering Cyrodiil, and in the distance is the White Gold Tower. That kind of reminds me of that for some reason. I have to get back to ESO. I actually haven't. I never played it because I had too many more games in my description. So another of this, just to give you one last kind of idea of how it looks and how it feels, is one for Falkreath and Falkreath one's pretty nice, and it's just kind of gives you the idea that, you know, when you're going into a new hole, it tells you. So if you are playing survival, you're not fast traveling everywhere, you can be like, oh yeah, I'm in Falkreath now. Pretty cool. Boom, Falkreath. Another brilliant mod, just to give you a demonstration of, you know, where you're going in the world. Now I'm going to show you one more and then I'm going to move back on to the bridges to give you an idea of their more, because one area in particular that I think shows off the bridges fairly well, and that is that's Windhelm. So before we go to Windhelm, one more little defensive feature for Man Those Borders, and then we'll go off to show a few more of the bridges. Now, like I said, Civil War, I could show you 101 Civil War battlefields throughout this, throughout Skyrim, but like I said, it just basically overhauls some of the more emptier areas to be a bit more interesting, to basically, you know, come across the same small ruined fort that you've come past 100 times and you've never looked at it, but now there's fire coming out of it, it's ruins. Here we have the Rift Mountain Pass fortification with a massive little banner here to remind you where you're going. It's always usually 1 or 2 guards in these areas, so I think the guard's gone to bed, because I think there's a bed somewhere nearby where he's able to sleep. Could be in here, if I'm correct. No, that's weird. There's usually a guard here somewhere. I don't know where he's gone. Maybe he's taking a break. Oh, no, there he is. Sorry. Hello, Riften Guard. So yeah, just to give you an idea of what the game, that's the game, which I think is pretty cool to be having these things, just to kind of give you an idea of where you are, so you're not thinking, oh yeah, I'm just gonna turn up to this, that, and yonder, and just gonna, you know, it's just, you know, when you're passing into Riften, it's not just, you know, you're passing into Riften, you're passing into a fortified place. And places with like towns nearby won't really have that many, because the towns themselves will be a deterrent, because they usually have an armed force in them. But the likes of the kind of the more western plains of Whiterun are very, very vast and empty, so you need a few military out there. Excuse the wind, I can barely see anything. This is another, overhaul I was using just to make the game feel a bit okay, let's wait a few hours. Make it feel a bit more realistic when it comes to Skyrim. So, now that we have a bit of... Oh, cold. Not that I really need reminding, but yeah, the game will do that for you. Actually, I went to the completely wrong place. I wanted to go to Anger's Mill. That's where I wanted to go. So that whole portion was kind of pointless. Apologies for that. But anyway, after this I'm going to show you a few of the other hold capitals, because, well, not a few, the other two. I've shown you Dawnstar and Winterhold, and I'm going to show you Morthal and Falkreath. So, as I was previously saying, a good example of the bridges is Windhelm, because look at this. This is fantastic. This is really well done. For mercenary here to actually...
I'm on my way to investigate. I probably shouldn't tell everyone who asks. This is important. If you really want to, just make sure you take care of whatever's going on here.
She actually has a magic... I think it's like a magic... weapon. It's a Kion 47, I think it is. Does a lot of mods retexturing weapons and armors, and that's one of them. It's a dual weapon mod, but it basically just it fleshes out the game. So you know you're not looking at the same fucking glass weapon for the 100th time and being like, oh, here's a glass sword. I haven't seen this 100 times before. Here's activating. Oh, it's nice. Sorry for that scream. Nice read through it. And like I guess as I was saying to you, another demonstration of the bridges is Windhelm has beautiful bridges after this mod is installed, and it just makes it look so much feckin' better when you're crossing this bridge, because then you get a kind of an idea of like where you are, the feel to the of the hold, and it just looks a bit better than the regular wooden bridge that you'd see 100 times. I get very sick of. Another example of the Justice mod, just giving you a little demonstration, just you can understand that when this is installed, and actually this is a great area because it'll actually have hanging bodies from the side of the bridge, if I can get a good glimpse of them. Yeah, there you are. So you have actual hanging cages, which is pretty fucking cool. Right, with that done, my next place I will show you is Falkreath. Which Falkreath, in my opinion, has actually been overhauled the best, because it's still a work in progress though. That's the only problem with the Falkreath overhaul. But it has been overhauled very well, and I do hope it gets seen straight through and finishes, because it looks really good. Because it actually makes Falkreath look a bit more, what do you call it? Just look a bit more interesting, and especially with Falkreath. Falkreath was going to be the one, if there wasn't an overhaul for Falkreath, I would have just left it as it is, because then the fact that it hasn't been overhauled will make it a little bit more unique, if you get what I mean. But now that it's been overhauled, I can't even look back at the old Falkreath. So, once again, just wait a few hours until the morning, so we can get a good view and glimpse of the new Falkreath, which is actually surprisingly, unlike the other overhauls that I've shown, has actually moved a lot of stuff. So there'll be a lot of stuff you'll look at and you'll be like, that wasn't there. So,
yes.
First off, who the fuck? Oh, yeah. First off, you have a little watchtower here now. Going over hall, you have two giant gates to close over whenever you feel like it. And this is the new Falkreath. So, a few things have been moved.
Try not to judge Falkreath too harshly.
Quite many. I think the major things you may notice is that you normally, when you walk into Falkreath, the thing straight in front of you is the Jarl's longhouse and then the barracks, but they're gone. You're thinking, oh shit, the game fucked? No, the game is exactly how it should be, but it's just in a different mentality. You have a few people selling food, and
I'm sorry, I should
else. Then we have a kind of like a mix between Falkreath, was kind of inspired a little bit by Solitude, which kind of makes sense. It is a Imperial allied, an Imperial allied area, so it makes sense that you have it. Ooh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Oh fuck, dragon. I am going to get rid of this instantaneously because I am not dealing with a dragon right now. The fucking mod, right in the middle of the mod, dragon. Where are you? Where is it? Oh, there it is. That's really fucking spooky, actually. Wait, does that? go.
Careful with that fire.
I think it's gone. Okay, fair enough. The dragon's gone. Even though the guards aren't sure. No, they're sure. Right, it's gone. Okay, cool. Back to our tour. We got a nice little banner on top there just so you can remember where you are. You're in Falkreath. I've got another. I think we have a new beggar as well.
Need something?
So we got a new beggar added in this wall here. So, like I said to you,
I can't really help you.
a few things have been moved around. One thing I do love is over here we have a new kind of exterior area, which is also a church now, which is the what you call it, the Hall of the Dead for this area. Now it's still work in progress, as you can see it's not exactly been clipped in perfectly, but it looks fantastic. And the graveyard still looks quite very good. Also, another thing about it is the farm. Their farm actually is in Falkreath anymore. It's, if I can remember correctly, somewhere out in this area. Or actually, no, it's up here, sorry. That's the stairs leading straight to it. If I use my brain. So their farm no longer actually is in Falkreath, it's actually just outside of it, which makes sense because you wouldn't really have a farm in the middle of a city or a village. So, going back into Falkreath, we have just a few more kind of details that just swapped around just to make the area look a little bit more interesting and memorable. A few extra little another gate, and then we have down here, which we have. I didn't even realize these textures were in the game, which I don't know where they are, but it's not actually needing anything yet. But wherever that is, that's pretty cool. And then we have now the Jarl's Longhouse, which is now here in a kind of more fortified portion of Falkreath, which would make sense because you wouldn't have your castle right in the middle, or your keep right in the middle of the the village. You'd have it fortified, and I think that does that for every single one of them. It kind of gives some kind of fortifications to the Jarl's Longhouses, which makes sense. And that's Falkreath. So Falkreath is looking fairly more, it just has a different feel to it now. So it might actually be memorable rather than, just looking at it 100 times and being like, oh, there's Falkreath. As per usual. The next mod up, the last one when it comes to the overhauls. Now I have two more mods I'm going to show you before I log out and leave it, which are two houses I'm using right now at the moment. I already showed the first or the second, whichever one way I review them. I already showed you a bit of one of them, but I'll show you the two of them now. So, I'm not using one of the houses really, because it was supposed to be like a really early starter house, meaning I would have used it for my first 10 levels or so. Once again, we'll just wait 12 hours until we have some sunlight. Probably another dragon's going to attack. But, yeah, they're kind of nice starter houses. I'm in level 40 or 60, somewhere along those lines. So I really do need to find a new house. That's why I'm doing a few reviews along with it, just so I can, make a video and then be like, yeah, maybe it's time to get a new house. So here is Morthal. Morthal has been, it's probably the least of the changes, because I think Morthal is terrible in its own right. But has definitely been changed.
How are we supposed to feel safe?
Now the Jarl's Longhouse is not. Shut up. The Jarl's Longhouse is not. I swear to Christ, I'm actually on the verge of about stabbing every single NPC in this game. Shut up, all of you. The Jarl's Longhouse is undefended in this one, but we do have a few new defenses, and in the form of these wooden walls around the entire of the quote-unquote city. So we have a new little farming outpost. As you can see, the walls go basically all around where there is a bit of Falkreath, there's a bit of wall, just so give you a feeling of security, I suppose. Up there, like. So the same with Dawnstar as well. I don't really show Dawnstar's walls off, but it's surrounded the entire village, basically. That bridge is not part of this mod, but I love the bridge regardless. That bridge is, as I previously said. Where is it? Oh, there it is. There we go. The bridge Skyrim. As you can actually notice, there's a bit of an issue, slight issue here, is that this area was built with the bridge in mind, the regular bridge, whereas the bridge has been now modified to be moved up here. So, but I love this bridge. It's something small. It's something like you can imagine, you know, it can be used as a drawbridge near enough by the looks of it. Out here we have a few more walls and defensive positions, just so, you know, you feel a little bit safer. I also found it always funny that Morthal was so close to Solitude, yet it was so poor. I don't know why that was, but I suppose it's just because of the location. They probably couldn't build much, you know, sturdy castles or fortifications, because they know that, you know, possibly the fortifications could fall into the sea or into the river. So, across the way we have a few more bridges and outposts, and then we actually have the actual port portion of it, which is, or the fishing kind of town feel to it, which has now been fully overhauled to feel a bit more, you know, actually used. We still have a few more watchtowers, which I love these wooden watchtowers. I didn't know why they weren't used a bit more, so you can keep an eye out there on the eastern side. And then back down to the village, you just have a few more, just kind of expanded it out and made it feel a bit bigger. So it made it feel like a true fishing town rather than, you know, just whatever Morthal was. So yeah, that's the last small things. And the thing is, you may not be noticing, the common theme you may be noticing with these mods is they're all small differences. They're not major overhauls. It's not like Morthal has, you know, massive, sprawling castle walls and towers. It's just basically taking what's there and enhancing it a bit more. Now I know that doesn't really apply to Winterhold, but the reason for Winterhold is because Winterhold was described as being a massive city with massive castles, whereas Morthal was always described as a small kind of fishing village. So this makes sense. Dawnstar has always been kind of described as a very important port, so it makes sense that it'd have some fortifications. And then Falkreath, in my eyes, Falkreath really didn't have a good description, but I always think like it would have more of a luxurious kind of feel to it, where its location is like it would be a wood-rich area, so it would be rich. It would be kind of like the Skyrim equivalent of the Reach from Game of Thrones. So there we are. That's the last of this area. So to finish off this little mod review or mod showcase, I suppose you'd call it, is the 2 starter homes I mentioned, because the next mod video is going to be the actual homes, and there's plenty of homes to show. So strap in for them, because there's a ton of them. Let's see, I'm just trying to figure out where. Ah, yes, they're actually right beside each other. So we have the Treehouse and we have Rayek's End. To avoid disappointment, I'm going to show Rayek's End last, because it's the better of the two. Now, unfortunately, right now, in my opinion, right now, Rayek's End has been trumped, absolutely trumped, by the Arcane Grotto from the Midden DLC, or Midden, not DLC, the Midden mod, Midden Expanded mod, because it is fantastic, that second Arcane Grotto. I cannot keep throwing enough praise to it. So, as you can see here, right, just in the view of Whiterun, we have a small treehouse. Nothing major. It's actually quite adorable, and I think it's great for a starter playthrough, especially if you're a person who's not really in the mood for a massive sprawling mansion, or you're just someone who wants a kind of woodsman feel to it. This is exactly what you want. So it's a 1 room only, nice view of the surrounding area, so a huntsman would love this area, because obviously, you know, Riverwood? I'm thinking of River Run, and now Riverwood is coming in my mind, I swear to God. So right view of Riverwood, so you can go straight down there to, you know, get your supplies, get your arrows, do all that. And then, like, if you're going to smith some arrows and stuff, you do it over there. You wouldn't do it in the treehouse. Like I said, the treehouse is only 1 room, so it's very small, basically just a supply area. You'd come home, make yourself some food, throw your stuff into one of the safes or chests, and then head on off. So, yeah. It's a nice, small little mod. It's a little bit adorable, in all honesty. It keeps to its theme, which is obviously we have the tree right in the middle of the house. So, yeah. Now, obviously, a lot of people will be like, well, wouldn't that burn down the place? But, yeah. that could be described like 90% of Skyrim. That, you know, half the fires should be burning down the houses and buildings. Now, the more luxurious end of a starter home is Rayek's End, which also comes with an artifact and is just overall my personal favorite early place to live. Because especially when you're trying to get that first few thousand gold to buy the house in Whiterun, you need somewhere to lay your head. And this is definitely the place to do it. Now, excuse the water effects because I think a few mods overhaul them to be a bit louder, to be more realistic. So you will be a bit deafened by it if you're wearing headphones like myself. So first thing as you come in is you're probably thinking, oh, it's just a regular cave. So what's so cool about this? Well, first thing as you come in, you will see is Rayek, who is dead. You see a firebrand, wine case, some wine, an arrow in his knee, and then you see his knapsack. Jesus Christ. I don't know why I can't say that. Whatever. But in it will actually be his weapon and the key, and there's a few other things I think related to it, but I'm using it basically as a storage for things I'm going to sell, so that's why it's not really major in there. Coming over to this side, you have named storage for most things. So we have the leather and hides, where you can then, you know, obviously use it for leather crafting, and then you also have over here, you have a actual storage for the woodcutter's axe, you have the wood chopping, and then you actually have wood storage, which I think is great. Coming through here, now you're probably thinking that's a bit open, isn't it? Well, actually not really. It's open because I like it. Your actual entrance to the house is a massive stone door which you can open and close from the inside and outside. So if you feel that you've committed some crimes in the hole, you've murdered some people for the Dark Brotherhood, you've stolen every piece of gold out of Whiterun, you need somewhere to lay low, here you go. So here we have the alchemy station. Alchemy is quite forgotten about in this game, and I love mods that kind of forget about it. Don't worry about the textures, that's the PlayStation thing, so don't worry about that. Alchemy is quite forgotten about, and I think this kind of gives it a little bit of a kind of thing. And I love these water effects of water going into the cauldrons. The same thing here with the kind of a red bloody version. You also have the ability to take all these, just if you want. And then obviously you have storage for your potions and storage for your alchemy supplies. You also have the alchemy lab in the middle. On the other side you have 3 display cases for your weapons. Now I have just randomized weapons there for myself on display, which is the scimitar, ebony greatsword, and the Nordic sword. It's usually all empty, so none here will be taken up. Keeping on side, we have I would guess, because of the sigil, it would be a Mage's Guild or College of Winterhold bath. So you get a rejuvenating relaxation after you've fought off that dragon for the 500th time. So, there you go. On the other side, we have the forge and workstations, which, you have ingots and blacksmith supplies. Everything here you need to craft up everything and level up everything as well. Those weapons are from a different mod, so don't worry about that. I'll be displaying all those kind of weapons in a later video. Further on down, we have the enchanting table, which I think looks awesome. Which has this kind of texture from it's the Eye of Magnus textures, which look awesome. We have the statue out here. We have enchanting supplies, which usually is just the soul gems for me, and then we actually have just overall really well looking kind of little enchanting area. The other side you have a very quaint and very modest, I have to say, library. So just if you don't want to of well, if you're just not in the mood to be murderous today, you can just sit here and read books all day. Now, there is an issue. I don't know if it's with this mod or if it's just with the bookshelves themselves, but for some reason I put a bunch of books on these and they're all missing, so keep that in mind when you use this. Over here we have the food crafting area, so we have an area for our beverages and an area for our actual food. And beside that we actually have a cooking pot, so you can make some food. Then we have the main bed, which looks fantastic, especially with the waterfalls and the dragon head. Now you have a bunch of storage here, so you have storage here which I just use for clothes. You've got a jewellery case here for your rings and whatchamacallit. And you have the bed itself, which actually acts as a bed, a chair, and storage. You have the bed, you have the chair, and then you have the storage under it, which I'm using for all of my unique items because you kind of want to keep your stuff hidden. The other side is where I put all my regular books. You have a armor display, which is unfortunately glitched, not because of the mod, but because Bethesda, you suck at mannequins. And then you have your weapon and armor, storage. And that's it. It's a quaint small mod, just a nice starter mod, especially if you're not in the mood of having a sprawling mansion to yourself. You want something more smaller, contained, has all your amenities you need, and looks goddamn well doing it. So, this is the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed so far, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.